Beyond Business, Season 2 with your boy Nick Freno. Here to share the stories that are true. From every walk of life, we're diving in deep, unpacking dreams and laughter. It's a journey we'll keep. Guests from near and far with wisdom to unfold. Life paths and journeys, every tale.
Hey, so I'm going to introduce real quick for those of you who didn't read the description or the title or whatever of this episode. This is career prosecutor and former Macon County State's Attorney and currently retired Jay Scott. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
I'm out here watching the updated news on the Luigi Maloney or whoever that killed. So when you see stuff like that, do you go in, is it like your brain registers like?
Yeah, you think about it. It's like, what would it be like to be a part of it?
Yeah.
And, you know, you think of all the evidence. And you know, from the time I started in 1987, you know, things have advanced so much more. You know, they've got that guy on all those surveillance cameras. Yeah. And it's like, I could see putting that case together.
So I think what the part about that whole thing, and I like listen to too much as far as there's so many government conspiracy theories of, you know, it was way too easy for this guy who is that much of a mastermind to get caught in McDonald's on accident with the gun and part description of why he was going to do it.
Yeah, but when the government doesn't come out and tell you things, that's when the conspiracy theories really get rolling.
Yeah. Well, and this is, the guy got like infamous overnight. I didn't even know who it was, and there was like, they're posting like memes, like he turned into like this hunk. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait, this assassin?
A little bizarre. And people were saying, well, he's a professional assassin.
Yeah.
I'm like, he doesn't look like a professional.
Being like a rich kid who just
came from a family with a lot of money.
Took his own. I don't even know. They'll get to the bottom of it.
It'll be interesting to
see.
We'll
hear something. Well, so they're saying that one of his attorneys' spouse, I don't know if he has the guy or the gal, is Sean Combs' lawyer.
Oh, really?
I'm like, they're getting, okay, they're going to have a good year. Part of the conspiracy thing, these big LA fires that are going on right now, there's been like 3 or 4 celebrities' homes that have been burned up in this. So now they're going back, and they had I want to say like the fire marshal of LA County was like kind of reprimanded because he was missing in action when this whole fire started. And they're going, well, is this a wildfire or was this started? And it's like, well, that's what the investigation now is. I'm like, oh my gosh, can you imagine if this was an arson?
No, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but
no kidding.
Of course, then you have people comparing this to what happened in Maui.
Oh, Maui.
You know, the big fire there. There's a lot of conspiracies with that too.
Yes, same.
I don't know what the truth is.
Yeah, we won't.
Probably
you know what
not.
I mean?
Probably not.
So I think that's it. As you were in your position, I mean, is it still easy to look and go, people above me or in bigger places than me, not everybody is doing their job how they're supposed to? Is it easy to pick that out, or is it like everyone has their own flow?
Well, when you see these big cities that have the ultra-progressive prosecutors that won't prosecute, you know, that doesn't lead to any good.
Right.
Like in Los Angeles. And, of course, they got the Gascon guy. They voted him out.
Yep.
And I think some others in San Francisco. But, you know, you can't just let the streets go to the criminals. And, you know, we don't have that here, and I hope we never do. Right.
I know the statistic used to be where Illinois was up there high, but like per capita, we have the most people locked up, most prisons, whatever. Is that, you think, because our laws are strict and they get enforced, or surely we just don't have that much many more idiots, right?
Well, that could be. I don't know. I don't know what the cause of that is.
I mean, statistics show that if you are an offender, your chances of reoffending are pretty high.
They are.
You know, so, yeah, to go, and it's happened numerous times. I mean, I think that was part of the work release programs getting kind of narrowed down, was you have people who if given the opportunity, they're going to ruin it, or everybody's not on the same page.
No,
so.
and I can tell you that I was here in Macon County for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And there are people I dealt with from the time I got here until the time I left.
Right.
Some people just keep committing crimes, and it's you wish, especially as a prosecutor, you don't want to keep seeing these people. You want to get them to stop. It's good for the community and it's good for them. But, you get some people that they just...
That's what I was going to ask you. Your win is, it's not always a big jury trial that's leading to, prison or whatever. I'm sure most of the time it's not, actually. You probably have more times than not. Or there'd be a trial every day.
Yeah,
all day.
You can't try them all. You have to settle some of them.
But I think that would be the tough part, is to be in your shoes and going, okay, if I do my job well, you're affecting someone's life in a big way. Now, you guys wouldn't be having that showdown had they not broke the law. That's 100% correct.
That's true, and you also have to look at it like if you have a victim of a very serious crime.
Yeah.
You want to get them justice.
For sure.
And there's no joy in sending anybody to prison. Right. It just isn't. If you have a murder case and you get really attached to the victim's family, there's satisfaction in getting them justice and making sure this person isn't going to kill somebody again,
right?
At least for not the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
But there's no joy in it.
Right. Okay.
And
I just didn't know if it was like when or
no. There may be prosecutors that are that way.
Yeah.
I haven't encountered. Well, in fact, I know there are, but I didn't encounter many of them in my career. You're dealing with people in a serious, violent crime. People on both sides are going through a tough time.
Oh yeah.
The families on both sides. So you're dealing with people at their worst, and it can be very difficult. It really can.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting perspective, because in my mind, you had to just be cold.
No, and see, that's what people think that.
Have you ever been in a position where someone got found guilty and by the end of the trial, you were even like,
no.
Oh, shit, maybe he's not guilty.
No, I've never had that.
Okay. That's possible, though, I would think.
You get cases, though, where somebody gets arrested, they get charged, you go through it, and then you realize they didn't do it.
Right.
But I've never, and the closest I
what,
ever
do you
came,
drop it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The closest I ever came to trying somebody who didn't commit the crime, we had a guy that he confessed to attacking a police officer. And the officer had on a body cam. And so a couple of days, I'd never been in court with a guy. I'd never seen him.
Right.
But I'm prepping the case, and we're looking at the video, and one of the officers there with me, and we're like, that's not him. But he confessed, so I'm going along.
Nothing else needed.
I'm going to put my case on, and show the video, and we look at the video, it wasn't him. So you dismiss the case. That's
and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You need someone to crash, bro?
That was, and we've had that even on murder cases where we arrested a guy, and then you get to going through it and examine all the evidence, and it's like he didn't do it, and then it's like you have to dismiss the case.
Well, yeah, because you're not the one who said go arrest the guy. You're the one who gets the evidence afterwards.
Correct. And, a lot of times we did work with the police on investigations. And in fact, that was one of the most enjoyable parts of my job, putting cases together.
Right.
But yeah, if they went out and arrested somebody, even if we thought the guy did it,
you're like,
and then when you get to digging through the evidence, like, no, he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I've seen that more than once.
Yeah. So I don't know what year did DNA start pop? Was that in your career or before?
That came up in my career.
Oh, okay.
Like early 90s, it started popping up, and we all had to learn what it was. And back then, you had to have blood or semen or tissue to get DNA. You had to have large amounts of a bodily substance. And now they can get it from a skin cell.
Skin cell.
Yes. In cases, you've seen where people were, they got new trials because DNA showed that it wasn't them. So it's helped defendants, and it's helped us a lot too.
Oh yeah.
But it now is down to such a minute amount that they can get the results from.
So basically, if there's a crime scene where clearly there was somebody here, it's like, oh, we're going to send someone in, and they're going to find something.
Not always, but a lot of the time. Yeah.
It's like what we used to say, that's only on TV, and now it's for real. Right?
Yeah. But of course, a lot of times you have cases where there's no DNA, there's no fingerprint, there's no gunshot residue, and people watch the crime shows. They think, well, you send it to the lab, you get results back in an hour, not months like it really takes. And everybody expects this. So then you got to explain to them.
That's a 45-minute episode.
Yeah. But you got to explain to them why you don't have that. Let the jury know, because they think every case is going to have all that evidence.
Well, and not to mention, I can't imagine that, DNA testing can't be, inexpensive.
No,
it's probably cheaper than it used to be, but, it isn't like, everything's just getting,
right.
You can run fingerprints on pretty much anything.
And they have a backlog. They have to have the experts who have to go through years of training, and they have to follow all these protocols where they bleach everything and change their gloves and work lab, so there's a lot that goes into it.
It's amazing. So that brings me to something interesting, because I believe you were the state's attorney, and rumor had it. Is there any chance you'd come out of retirement for a case? Do you know what I'm going? You know where I'm going with this?
I have come out of retirement for a case.
Oh, already?
Yes.
It's ongoing case?
Yes, for about the last year. I've been
DNA related.
Part of it
from the '96.
Yes, slower case.
Okay. I was just looking at stuff up, and I'm like, wait, this is way too new.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, so the mother passed
last week? No, this week.
Oh, she just passed.
No, it was this week. My day, when you're retired, your days get screwed up. It must have been I think it was last week.
Oh, man, I didn't realize that. Okay, that was brand new news then, huh? Okay.
And the son has already been paroled. He got paroled.
Wait, they're both out? They're both out?
No, the the parents are dead, and the son got paroled last March, I think it was. February or March.
So what does he just don't want to, he's paying a lawyer to?
No. This is there's an Innocence Project.
Okay.
That they pick cases that they think people were unjustly convicted, and they come in and represent.
Was that your case?
I was one of 3 attorneys on that, yes.
Man, that was wild.
It was.
I remember it was like the first time I'd seen just almost a big panel or a box truck, and they had like a lab scene set up around that car lot.
Yeah.
They were tilling up. It was like, oh, this is serious.
That it was. I don't know. I couldn't estimate how many man hours went into that.
I can't imagine.
And it was the police reports are tens of thousands of pages. Just in that one.
Oh yeah.
On that case.
How long of a trial was that?
6 weeks.
Every day for 6 weeks.
Every day for 6 weeks. That was. It was something I never wanted to do again. It was the longest trial I ever did. That's all you worked on. For the last 6 weeks before the trial, all 3 of the attorneys, we gave up all our other cases, and that's all we worked on. And we've been working on it before that.
Yeah. But
for the last 6 weeks, that was the only case we had. We worked on it all day long. You woke up in the morning thinking about it. You went to bed at night thinking about it.
And when they went to deliberate, was it literally a crapshoot? Like you're going,
You never know.
Or I didn't know if you guys were like,
Well, it was a circumstantial case. We thought it was a good case.
Yeah.
But you never know how a jury's going to take it. The main thing, if you're a good prosecutor, there's no such thing as a slam dunk. No matter how good your case is, you've still got to get the right jury, and you got to get all the evidence in. And so it was tough. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
We were confident. And that's the one thing as a prosecutor you have to be. You got to know in your heart that these people did it. And if you don't know in your heart they did it, it's not a case you should prosecute.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. It kind of falls back what we were saying earlier. Like, I'm definitely not going to go try a case that I know someone didn't do it and put them in jail.
That would number one, it'd be unethical, but it's not the right thing to do.
Yeah, right. And man, there's big life decisions and great news and terrible news that goes on in that building. Mm-hmm. That's just
that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a whirlwind. So what Where'd you go to? Are you from here?
I'm from Bethany. I grew up in Bethany.
So where'd you go to school?
U of I.
Okay. And you came to Macon County straight from U of I?
No, I went to
U of I Law School. Is that what is it, law school? At U
yeah,
of I?
I went to U of I law, undergrad and law school.
Okay.
I went to Warren County up by the Quad Cities.
Okay.
I was there for exactly a year, and then the job opened up here, and I came.
Okay.
Here.
Just what got your feet wet, and then so I'm going back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to get I was always an incredibly. Well, I've always been introverted.
Right.
But I was very shy as a child, and the thought of standing up in front of people and making my living was just like, what? You know, why did I become a lawyer? You know, I was petrified.
So you had to work your way into it.
You know, so I just had to cold turkey go into it and stand up in front of people, and then I was like, okay, I can do this.
Oh yeah, that would be rough. Yeah. I mean, even still, I think I'm even one of them to where if I'm happen to get people's ears and we're talking, then that's fine. But if it's like, all right, here's 100 people, go tell them that. It's like,
I was that way.
Where's my notes?
And if I'm sitting and talking with somebody I know,
it's different.
I'll talk,
you can chat.
talk.
Yeah.
But
it's different.
around
when
other
you have
people,
a platform.
I'm always kind of the guy off in the corner that doesn't
Well,
talk too much.
especially when like jury time and stuff like that, every move is kind of under a microscope.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you got to be careful who you even look at, who you just
Exactly. You got to be on. You got to bring your A game to every moment of a trial, and when you got to do that for 6 weeks,
it's
I can
tough.
tell you after the trial was over and we got the guilty verdict, our boss said, "You guys can have some time off." And so, I mean, I was spent. I was an emotional and a physical wreck.
Like, I don't feel like that was a win. My body hurts.
Yeah.
My mind hurts.
And so I made the mistake. I was married at the time, and I told my wife, I'm going to go pitch a tent out in the woods, and I'm going to camp for a few days, just get off by myself. And so I told the first assistant, Jack Ahola, I said, I'm just going to go off and go camping. He said, okay, I'll go too. And I'm like, that's not what I had in mind. But then, so he goes and tells one of the case agents on the case from the state police. He said, I'll go too. And then one of our investigators, so there ended up 4 of us going. But we had we just drank
Everyone had the same idea.
We drank too much. We ate too much.
Yeah,
we had a ball.
That's good. Let's forget everything for a minute. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I can imagine that'd be tough. So, how does it work whenever that appeal hits the books? Someone reaches out and goes, hey, Slover's coming back.
What they did, everybody appeals on a case like that, and their appeals got denied.
25 years? Hasn't it been 25 years?
The trial was 22 years ago.
Yes, man, that's a long time appealing.
Well, so they lost their appeal. Then in 2007, they filed what's called a post-conviction petition. And that is, they're claiming that their constitutional rights were violated by something that happened at trial.
And they just realized it.
Well, then they asked for DNA testing on some of the evidence. And that, I don't know, they sat on it. I don't know why it took so long.
Sounds like they let a couple people die.
Well,
if that was the goal, it's like,
yeah,
hell, you let them expire.
They got some DNA results, which I'm contesting, but they filed a new petition. It went from 2014 until last February when they filed another petition, and this one's been pending all that time. And so I'm the only one left who's still got his law license. So that's why I was contacted about it. And so it falls on my lap now.
Yeah, see how it goes. It doesn't. So they have DNA evidence?
They have DNA evidence. And I can't go into too much.
No, for sure.
My position is it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And it'll all come out someday.
Right. But that's what man, that'd be tough. That guy's, well, I mean, he obviously killed his wife, but that'd be tough to be like, hey, no, we're definitely not hiring you. Have you got arrested? You killed her. What's your name? Oh, hell no. You can't be around here. You wouldn't think.
No, I don't think he's going to be around this location.
Golly, that's tough there. But it sounded like, okay, so hopefully she doesn't get mad at me saying this, but so my mom was you know, the gals who are guys and gals who go into like the county jail and like do church service. So she had became friends with a guy who was, I forget his name now, but it was an older black dude who was
Mr.
there.
Livingston.
Yes, there you go, Otis. Otis
okay?
Livingston.
I
Yeah,
always called him Mr. Livingston.
yeah, that's him. And so my mom and him had became friends just in outreach stuff, and she was going down there, and the Slover mom was a regular in the church thing.
Really?
Yeah. To where, she had my mom convinced she didn't do anything wrong, and maybe not even because it wasn't that she talked about the case, but my mom's like, she's just too kind. And I'm like, man, she's saying prayers right. She's trying to trick God and you right now. You know what I mean?
It's you know, it's just like if I didn't think they did it, if I didn't know that they did it,
right.
I couldn't have slept for the last 22 years. You know.
Yeah. Do you live in the same around here now?
I live in town. I live out by the airport.
So how often do you ever run across people regularly that are like, hey, what? Wait, I know you.
I get that. There were several documentaries that were done on the Slover case. And then there was another case that I did with another attorney on Cutler, who drowned his wife in the bathtub.
Yep.
And so there was all these
I went to school with that
documentaries
guy.
floating around out there. And every now and then, in fact, I ran into a guy, our boys were friends, and I saw him at the KC Hall the other night at a retirement party, and he said, hey, I saw you on Forensic Files. But every now and then, I go in, pay for
I've actually went back and watched that one, Cutler one, a couple of times.
But I went back it's every now and then, I'll go into like a gas station to pay for my gas or something, and they say, I saw you on TV.
Hey, yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, was that like, that was like the major network. They come in and set up, and
oh yeah,
is that just part of the job, or do they go, "Hey, are you willing to?"
They ask you if you'll do it, and you don't get paid anything.
Yeah,
you have to sign a thing that says, I will not get paid.
Yeah.
But some of them were they were fun to do.
Yeah, and they're cool. Them shows are cool, man.
And some of them we had to actually like act.
Yeah.
Walk down the hallway and act like we were going through their police reports.
Right. Oh yeah, obviously. I binge watched those too, man. That's how I ran across it. It was the first time. I'm like right when it started, and I think they even said it because it was Mountain. Was it Mount Zion, or she was a Mount Zion teacher?
No,
they lived in Mount Zion.
They lived out there
Elwyn Blacktop
off the. I can't think of the name of the addition. It's off of Harryland.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of in a no man's zone between Decatur. It's a Mount Zion, or maybe a Decatur address, but it's Mount Zion Police Department.
Mount Zion,
that's
so that was it. Is whatever it was, they said the name of the town. And I'm like, wait, what? Holy shit! Yeah, I sounded like he did a terrible job.
Yeah, he didn't think that one through.
I was like.
I mean, there were so many things. I talked to college classes, and that case is part of it. And it's like, when you get to the end, everybody's like,
what?
How did he think he was going to get away with this?
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he watched the wrong show. Yeah, that was my favorite part of the thing. Is it was like he was like, okay, hey, I need you guys to go. I got my kids in here. If you guys hurry on up, like, my man, come here. You're gonna.
Well, and that was a case where. Another thing that we didn't have when I started out was all the computer evidence that we have now.
Oh yeah.
And it took months before we had him arrested. And Nicole Cronky, who was my first assistant, she and I were part of the investigation. And I mean, it took months to go through and find all this incriminating stuff he'd done on his computer.
Oh yeah.
And now. Everybody that gets arrested has got a cell phone.
I was going to say.
And people are so dumb what they do on a cell phone.
You know where you're. And so I had another travel ball dad. He's a DEA guy. And we were talking about phones one day. And he's like, oh, no. When I say, if you don't have to call anybody, if your phone is turned on right now, you know what I mean? If something happens, we will know where you were at.
Exactly.
And it's like that. He goes,
And they said,
like 100% of the time.
Yeah, at the Decatur Police Department, I don't know how many guys they had. That's all they did was download
That's
the
it.
phone.
Stuff's on the phone. Yep.
And, people think, you text somebody or you take a picture or something and you delete it.
It's gone.
It's still there.
For sure. Yeah.
And that is something that helped us out the last 10 years or so of my career. That
I was just going to ask, too, how, like, even like social media, along with the era that if you don't have a doorbell camera, then you just don't want one. You know what I mean? It's like pretty much if you drive down any street,
Exactly.
you're on somebody's.
Yep. That's what I told my two youngest boys. I said, don't try to get away with anything.
Yeah, you're done.
Because even the woods have cameras now.
Yeah, exactly. They're looking for a deer
Trail
to
cameras.
move around, and you just showed up.
You can't get away with anything.
Yeah, we got still shots of you going.
And if you try it in front of somebody, they can take their phone out and videotape you.
Yeah.
It's,
I don't. I like. I mean, there's huge advantages to the technology era, of course. But yeah, I was pretty good figuring out what to do in the woods, or you know what I mean. I was pretty good. I felt like that was a pretty good way to grow up too. But and that's it. As they go, well, there's so many creeps now. Well, no, they were there.
oh yes.
We just now I believe you can actually pull it up and go, yep, there's one over there.
Yep. And it's easier to catch them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, isn't that some? Yeah, that's some. I can't believe the number of those cases that pop up. I got one for you. Doug Nichols. Him and his wife got arrested, but nothing ever happened. It was like
I don't take the paper anymore, so I don't follow everything that goes on. But I thought they were in court here just recently.
yeah, it's just one of them where it's been years, and there was some weird. Big money people kind of involved. Yeah, there was a few names thrown around.
And apparently
went away.
some of the names were thrown around, were like had nothing
to do with
this
it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. That came along after I was gone, so I don't know any of the details.
Well, and it was, I don't think anyone knew, so it was followed by everyone adding the person they don't like to the list.
Yes. Yes.
Here's who else was on it. I was like, wait, what? Yeah. What the hell's he got to do with this? But it's not just P. Diddy stuff or Epstein stuff. No. So whenever you came on, and was there anybody that you were like, you knew you were going to be a lawyer, obviously went to law school. Is there like a mentor you had either younger than that or once you got to Macon County and settled in that was kind of the one that, whether he helped you or you just looked at?
Well, my first boss was a really great guy. He taught me a lot. When I got to Macon County, I was the only assistant up there. There was just me and him.
Okay.
Of course, when I came to Macon County, there was like...
Was it a smaller area?
Yeah. So we had like 16 attorneys when I started. So I was like the low man on the totem pole. But there are two people I think that helped me the most. Jack Ahola, who was state's attorney before I was, really taught me how to put a case together, and a big case. And taught me get everything organized ahead of time. And I was a big organization freak. I worked my tail off so that by the time you went into court, you're not thinking about anything else. You've got all your ducks on a row. Things always go wrong in big trials, or in any trial that can go wrong.
Right.
The other one was Larry Fichter, who was state's attorney for 3 terms when I was here. And I was kind of at a crossroads. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Prosecutors don't get paid a whole heck of a lot of money.
Okay.
And, I wasn't making beans. And so I got offered a job as a public defender. And so I went in and talked to Larry, and I said, I didn't ask him for more money. I never did that. But I said, what's my future here? And he pepped me up and said, I was doing a good job. He wanted me to, advance. But the best advice I ever got from any attorney was from Larry. And he told me, when you go into that courtroom, you need to own it. And I started thinking, there's times I didn't own the courtroom. The defense attorney was in charge, and I'm just the guy that's kind of sitting there. And he said, it's not the defense attorney's case, it's not the judge's case, it's your case.
It is usually the state versus, right?
And exactly, and it was kind of a turning point in my career that I got to do this different, and I did, and I I had more success, I think, after that than before. And
Probably doesn't take long for it to kind of become aware to who you're going in there with. Like, welcome to my show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I got to thinking, I specifically remember a trial I did with an attorney from Champaign. And I was like, yeah, I guess he was the boss, and I wasn't.
Right.
And it's like, I got to be the boss.
Okay. Oh, you could even reference it. You're like, I know what you're talking about here. No, that's cool. All cops wear body cams all the time now?
I think pretty much, yeah. They passed a law mandating it, and I don't know when the effective date, but that's another thing. A lot of police, I can remember when they mandated that if you were interviewing somebody on a murder case, it had, like at headquarters, it had to be videotaped.
Yeah.
And a lot of the old-time guys were like, well, we don't want our secrets getting out, how we conduct interrogations. And I thought, no, I don't see that. But it was one of the best things ever, because I used to have trials. You did a murder case and the guy confessed to the detective, and the guy comes in, of course, I didn't say that. He made it up. Well, if you got it on video, there's no contesting.
Yeah.
And the same way with body cameras. You get to see exactly what happened. If the officer did something wrong, you're going to know it. And if the defendant claims the officer did something wrong, but he didn't, you know it. So but that's another thing. Very helpful to prosecution.
Well, and I think even with the police's case, they have to go deal with whatever they're dealing with, and then turn around and write a report on it, assuming you recall exactly.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So it's human error. It's
exactly, and that enters into it. You get the video.
Yeah,
it's all going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure there's cases that get it just because, the police officer made something wrong in his report, and it's like, hey, man, I guess part of your gig. Yep. But, yeah. So that's what the former police officer that was in here, he's like, I was one of the first to wear the body cams and one of the first to get in trouble for conduct on the body cam. Like, hey, you wear it. You didn't know? Come on. I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. If you know everything you do is videoed, you're going to toe the line.
Damn right.
You're not going to do anything inappropriate.
Yeah. I don't know if the George Floyd thing was just a reason, but after that, when it became literally stand there by officers like this with your phone, and they go, what do you need? It's like, nothing. I'm allowed to be. Come on. I don't know. That's just, you had some that handled it like a champ, but other times it's like, what do you do? Like, you're that's poking the bear, man.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
Yeah. So that's what was interesting when the police officer came here. I was like, well, was it what you thought? You came from being a military policeman to come here. I was like, what was it? What you thought it would be? And he's like, no way. He goes, I thought people respected the police, and we helped, and he goes, oh, there wasn't that at all. We were the enemy to everyone who even called us most of the time. And it was like, because that's what I said. That I had referenced the guy, but they get a badge and pokes his chest out, and I probably wife treats him like shit at home, so he's being a dick to everybody. And he goes, it took me like a year and a half, and then that's kind of how I had to. Everybody was shitty.
I know there was.
He goes, it was crazy. By the time I got on first shift, I thought everyone was the nicest people in the world. He's like, oh, you got normal people around here, huh?
Yeah, you see where they go out, they get called out on something, and then it's like people come out of the woodwork and just start giving grief. And it's like,
Yeah. Well,
I wouldn't want that job.
Oh, no way. Well, and I think that's the problem. They're having a hard time filling that job, and I guess the understanding I'm having is it's kind of just like anything. You kind of lower the qualifications, lower the age, do whatever you have to do to be able to fill the role. And I mean, obviously bodies do actually matter, but man, I don't know. I think my opinion has been for a while, what they expect out of police officers. Well, you have to, enforce the law, but you also have to be able to deal with. You have to be a psychologist and a therapist, without training.
It would.
It's like, of course you're here to enforce the law, but we can't really teach you how to deal with who we don't know who you're having to deal with.
And they did start a lot, which I thought was pretty good, and I think was necessary with the shortages they have, teaching them how to de-escalate.
Right.
And I think that's pretty important.
Yeah.
It doesn't work every time, but
No.
if you can get somebody down
Chill
off the
out.
ledge, where you're not having to fight with them,
Right.
everybody's better off.
Right. Yeah, that case. They got the guy here in our county jail, that Sangamon County dude who,
A deputy,
yeah, and it's like
that was outrageous.
that was outrageous. And not to mention, again, not that it would have made it right or wrong, but you knew you and your partner were videoing the whole thing. Like, what in your mind?
How could you ever thought that'd be justified?
Anything that you like? Why were you even in there? Really?
I mean,
Why'd you even go off the porch?
You could have got out,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a bad deal. I mean, I think the bad part is it was a huge decision because someone's life is gone. But it's like, man, that moment, dude, that whatever you thought authority you gave yourself for a second, you're done now. I mean, that bad decision just ruined
Yeah.
And I see when they throw his picture up now, and like, I don't know if he had to, like, I think he just has like a white T-shirt on in the picture, but it's like, man, he looked kind of like a dickhead in the video. You know what I mean? He pops up now, it's like, oh, this is a young dude, man.
Is he?
Oh yeah. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh shit, he's got a rough road because he's
he
done,
made
dude.
A big mistake.
Big, yeah. You can't. Well, that's what I asked one of the COs. I had a correctional officer come in, and I said, "Did they ask you if you're racist?" And he's like, "Oh, all the time." And I go, who do you think I'm talking about?" He's like, "The inmates." I go, No. I'm saying, as part of your job, when you're in an interview, did they ever say, "Hey, do you have a problem with any?" And he goes, "No, I mean, no." And I go, "Okay, I just wondered because, I mean, not that
That's a
anyone
good
would
question.
say yeah, but do they say, circle the picture of the person you like the least, like that? You know what I mean? It's like, who knows? You might have people that, there's a lot of authority-struck people that they love that shit to be in charge.
I would agree.
You know what I mean? But then again, we need people in charge.
Somebody's got to do it.
I got educated on the Safe Neighborhood Act. Was that since you've been retired?
It was passed, but it didn't go into effect. It was passed before, but didn't go into effect until I was retired.
What in the hell is the idea behind?
Well, the idea is, and I'd be the first one to agree, that it's unfair that somebody with money can post bond on a crime that somebody who doesn't have money stays in the county jail. But this ain't the way to fix that.
It doesn't make.
And I've always felt that way. You
Yeah.
see some guy that doesn't have any money, they get there. Somebody with money gets out.
Do
But
they set the bond according to your income or case only?
they take that into
Okay.
account. But typically it's your record and
Yeah.
the seriousness of the crime.
Yeah.
Now, but you also, over the years, I don't know how many times I've seen people get astronomical bonds, and they get every family member, every friend to pitch in a little bit, and they post bond and get out.
Yeah.
And now if you're detained, you can't do that. So there are a lot of problems with this law. You just...
Yeah, because I mean, you're right. If you have nothing, then $300 might as well be $3 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know the way to fix it, but...
That would seem like just a random stab, and it's like,
Let's try. Let's try this.
yeah. We got too many. All right, let the next few go then. I don't know what to say, Well, that's what I asked him. I said, "So you guys packed?" He goes, "No, nobody comes. You have to do something pretty bad to stay." He goes, "So they just come on through."
Well, I keep thinking I need to call Jim Root, the sheriff. I don't know what their population is now in the jail, but
Right.
I'm sure it's got to be way down.
Yeah, I had two different. One was my first one. I got in here. He had been there for like 25 years, Haddock, and he was like, man, he kind of contributed that to our homeless that we have now, because somewhere along the lines of whatever that went into effect, there was a piggyback on it that was something that allowed homeless loitering, basically, or you can't take basically if a police rolls up and you don't have a home, and as long as you're not like trespassing, then I guess they used to be able to not let you do it. Now they can't do anything about it. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's just sitting back, and I'm going, I didn't even know we had a homeless problem. You know what I mean? I know there's some dudes on the corner now, but I mean,
there are a lot of, Decatur is fortunate. There are a lot of services available.
Yeah.
For it.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
I remember one time, you see the guys standing on the corner.
Yeah.
They probably don't need the money.
I was going to say, they're not the homeless ones, I don't think.
And I remember one time my boys, they were little, and we drove by, and they were like, Dad, why don't you try to teach your kids to be good to other people?
Yeah.
Why don't you give that guy some money? I said, because it's going to go to either cigarettes, beer, or cocaine or something.
Right. I'm not like the pan. Like I can't stand it. I mean, it like irks me just because. I mean, not that now and then I've seen someone and it just hit me, and I've been in Chicago and seen the guy with one leg, and I'm like, he's not faking this.
Yeah.
Go get a beer, man. Here, I don't. Yeah. Whatever.
Right. But you say, I mean, when I was in office, we would have Tom Schneider was sheriff, and he was real good. He'd see these people panhandling, and he'd go up and start talking to them. And you get to find out they're not homeless. They don't need bus fare. They're just out there making money.
That's it.
That was it. And so then we prosecuted. Like the one guy stood out and said, "Homeless vet."
I remember that was in the news. And
we prosecuted him.
He's got POW flags out by his.
Yeah, we prosecuted him for theft by deception because the people probably wouldn't give him the money if they didn't think he was a homeless vet. Yeah. And found out he was never a vet, and he wasn't homeless.
Found a pair of camouflage pants and went out there and in a Cadillac.
Well, that's it. You see them; they'd be dropped off.
Yeah,
$50,000 pickup.
Right,
trucks,
go fill their trunk up with the shit they got all day. It's like, oh man, come on. There's someone that sits outside the Dollar General over there where a Kroger got tore down. And, Fairview Plaza there. Mm-hmm. When I went in, I seen her sitting there begging people. So when I was walking out, I'd grab myself a water, and I grabbed two. So I knew it, when I came out, she's like, "Hey, baby," and I turned around and said, "Here you go." Man, I don't want that shit.
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
You look down, she had like 3 sodas, 2 energy drinks, a couple bags of donuts, some chips. I'm like, man,
well, I know
you got more shit than I got, right?
Exactly. I know somebody who went to Washington, D.C. Apparently they have a big problem with homeless and beggars. And they'd gone out to eat at a nice restaurant and had a to-go box because couldn't eat it all. Mm-hmm. And tried to give it to one of them. He refused. He didn't want food. He wanted money. And he said that. I don't want that. I want the money.
Dude, I have the exact same thing. So by Union Station in St. Louis, there's that big park where there's a lot of homeless. Mm-hmm. Went to the barbecue joint. It was me and a gal, and it's one of them where we both got like a pick 3, so we could try a little bit of everything, but we had enough shit to eat for 2 days. We're at a hotel. So it was like we picked at it. I was like, I got a plan. There's a bunch of people out here. They're going to love this. I proceeded, after dealing with about 5 people, to dump that food into the garbage can.
Wow.
Like, I was pissed.
Wow.
I'm like, now you guys, it was like, we don't want that. Man, we don't want that. Hey, hold on, let me see if somebody wants this. It's like, wait, do you live here? Yeah. What?
Wow.
I just spent $80 on barbecue and ate $20 worth of it. You know what I mean? This was for you. But yeah, it's funny.
One thing about Decatur, I mean, it is a very giving community.
It really is.
We have a lot of programs and places people can go to eat or get a bed for the night. It is. I've always been proud of that as the food drives. That they've done.
Yeah, huge. They do it big. I mean, it's easy to classify someone who looks like a bum, whatever, but you never know, man.
No, you never know what they've been through.
No, you don't know what led to. I can't imagine, other than maybe some of them just not wanting responsibility, that they want that.
But they
don't want to not do it either.
I know.
I mean, yeah.
I don't understand it.
There was I think my dad and I years ago. I think it was my dad and I. There was a we'll work for food dude had a sign, And I think I had asked him, I was going to do some shit work I was doing on the side, you know what I mean? I used someone to help dig a hole or whatever, and that guy wanted no part of that. He just had the side. He was like, you really want me to work? It's like,
isn't that what you said?
yeah, you said you was going to work. I didn't. Shit. So do you have any, now that you're retired, well, you have to spend time on that Slover case, or you're just like, I don't have to dig. I'm there if I need to be.
When I first got on it, I went in. I mean, they gave thousands of pages of stuff I had to go through. So I went through all that. Well, then this summer they had
new stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's not all new stuff, but it's like
some
articles written by people and studies done by groups of scientists.
Which all this is what made this people decide to take this case and even bring it back.
Well, they're adding to what they'd already put on.
Okay.
So I had to go through that. Well, then they asked for a continuance from July to October. So I'm like, I'm not going to work on this because I don't know what they're going to file. So then they filed another one. Then went back into court, I think in December, maybe November, and they finally said they're not going to file anything else and set it for the end of February. So I've been going in 2 days a week. They put me in a quiet place on the floor that very few people are at, so I can just sit down and all I do is work.
Right.
You know, I don't have anybody to chit-chat with.
Right.
I'm not getting any phone calls or emails. So a couple of days a week I go in.
So once you became state's attorney, if you have that many people under you, do you go into court anymore? Or is it I delegate who goes to court?
Well, the bad part when you're elected is you can't try a bunch of cases because you got to deal with all the administrative stuff. I still tried cases, and then I did the preliminary hearings every week, the probable cause hearings.
Okay.
Because that way I went through every case that was filed because you have different people charging things.
Right.
So I reviewed it, and that way I knew what was being filed.
Okay.
And, of course, for a large part of it, I did most of the felony charging, not the sex crimes or the domestic violence, but I did everything else. But you can't go to court as much when you're state's attorney.
Yeah. Did you like that better than? I mean, was that a good end to your career? Was to be state's attorney?
I didn't enjoy being state's attorney.
Okay. You liked what you were doing before that.
Yeah, it was a good ending to my career, I suppose.
Right.
But I didn't set out 30 years ago with any desire to be state's attorney.
Right.
That was not on my career path.
Right.
In fact, a very wise man told me when I was young, don't ever get involved in politics. And so I was like, I'm never going to get in politics. Well,
never mind.
Yeah, I got talked into it.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was a fine way to end the career. I hated the political part of it. I hated it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's over now.
Yeah. And I mean, it's part of it. And that's what, it's...
I ran into a retired police officer one time when it was in my second term. And he said, how much longer you got on your sentence?
Right. Yeah, I'm about wrapping it up, man.
It's almost over.
Almost done. Well, I can't imagine. So what do you do now? What do you kill? Because you worked for 35 years all day, every day. And
I did.
Probably took it home because you can't shut your brain off.
No, and I, gave up a lot of vacation time I could have used, but I've put off. And I've still got two boys at home, but when they were little, one time we had 6 kids in the house.
Oh,
and our house was the house that everybody in the neighborhood's kids came to. So everybody's playing, they're banging their toy guns against the walls and everything. And I remember my second son said, why don't you fix this place up? I said, I'm not going to do it while you guys are still little.
Tearing it up.
Yeah, you're going to tear it up again. So I've run out of exces now.
Oh, yeah. You're
so
got to get new furniture, got to fix the hole in the wall.
That's what I've been doing, fixing the holes in the walls, painting, working on bathrooms, putting in, So I do that. But,
How old are your boys?
I got 4 kids.
Okay.
My oldest is going to be 32.
Okay.
My daughter's, I'm trying to think, 28. I got a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh yeah. Well, you're almost you're getting there.
Yeah, but
They're old enough now to learn drywall if they've messed your shit up again.
Yeah, good
You
luck
can
with
YouTube that. Yeah, I'll tell you what. No, that's cool. I'll tell you, that is what's neat now that my son, he's 14. It's like he's hit that age to where, to me, he's like, his mom, it probably drives her nuts because she's like, he's growing up, but oh, I absolutely love it. Like, he's my buddy now. Like, we watch the same sports. We're fans of the same thing. When I hang out with him, he doesn't really know about work, so I don't have to talk about work. So, yeah, it turned out. Well,
I never wanted my kids to grow up. I loved having them little.
Yeah.
And it's, now they got that independence.
Yeah.
And they still like to do stuff with Dad, which I'm
okay.
glad.
Well, then good.
Yeah, we don't watch TV together. They go off and do their own thing.
Yeah.
But we still go on vacation together
That's
and
good.
do other things. So it's.
You'll be not cool at some point, and then they'll be back, and you'll be cool again. It's that circle.
I think I've already gone through the not cool phase.
You were already
with
there?
3 of them.
Okay.
And I got to get through it with a 4th.
The 16-year-old?
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. You're not there yet.
But like I say,
Take the keys once, and you're not cool anymore.
But he came up with the idea last June, I think it was. He wanted to go hiking. So he and I went up to the Upper Peninsula, which I'd never been there before.
I've heard. I haven't been either.
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful. I will go back.
And went hiking.
And we just went hiking. We had a wonderful time.
So when you say hiking, you mean like overnight, like
No,
backpack, or you just mean you
did
just went hiking?
Day hikes, like
Okay.
long day hikes.
Okay.
And saw some beautiful. I mean, if you ever get to go there and you go up, they've got trails, and you're on this bluff, and it's straight off. And there's Lake Superior and all these beautiful rock formations. The water's crystal clear. Where we were, very few people. I mean, we picked a place to
Yeah, and
go
they don't
hike.
build on the bank around
No.
there, so
It was beautiful.
Oh, I
Loved
bet. Yeah, I've heard a lot of.
Now, they got these flies, though, in certain time of the year, stable flies, I think they call them. They
biggest.
just cover you.
Them biggins?
Yeah, and off. There's
Nothing.
nothing that will
They
repel
love it,
them.
huh?
And
They
they
love
start,
off.
and the bites don't kill you, but it's annoying.
It's enough.
But it was great. I would do that again. Waterfalls, it's beautiful.
So you can't use Slover. What is the most memorable case that you can flash back? Whether it be memorable because just for your own reason, or public memorable, or whatever. Well, no Cutler or Slover.
Well, I think Slover's obviously the most memorable. Probably the other one I think about the most was James Huff. He was the one that killed Sarah Kramer, a little 3-year-old girl.
Jasper Trailer Park?
Yes.
Yep.
And then dumped her in Sangamon out
Yeah.
by Wycliffe.
And that ended up being actually just someone who went into the place while the kid was asleep and took her, right?
Mhm.
Or
That
it was
was
like, it had to be the family, it had to be something, and it was just a
and that was the
stranger?
toughest. That was the hardest case I ever tried by far. Slover didn't hold a candle to it.
What, to get him found guilty, it was
Yes.
that.
And it was a 3-week jury trial, so it was half as long as Slover. But the bad part on that, I had to do almost all the trial preparation by myself. And the only help I got I was promised help. It came the Thursday before the trial started on a Monday. So that one was tough. I thought I was going to lose. I knew he did it. There was no question in my mind.
Right.
But we had a lot of evidentiary problems. They had experts battling our experts, and it was the trial was 9 years after the crime happened. So people's
really?
memories were foggy.
Because wasn't it almost like we don't know for a while?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's what I thought. There was quite a while.
it was. Well, they figured out it was him pretty
Okay.
quickly. Well, not pretty quickly. After so many years, but then they had to build a case on it, and it was tough.
Okay.
But
Did he know anybody? Did he have any relation, or was he
he's
literally?
related to the family. He's like an uncle by marriage.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. But he wasn't living there or
Yeah.
anything like that. That, man, talk about waking up as a parent and being like, wow.
Horrific. But that one, I lost over 20 pounds, just I think from stress.
Hell yeah.
My suits didn't fit.
Get some belts. Some new
But yeah,
belts.
that was tough. But that was probably the most satisfying case I ever did, as far as
Because
the
you're like,
outcome.
this dude is He's going,
Oh,
I need to put him where he
He's an
belongs.
animal. Well, he was in prison for raping an elderly lady out on the West End when I tried him. I mean, so this guy, he's a menace to society.
Oh, he was in prison when he...
When he went to prison after he killed the
Oh, yeah,
little
because there
girl.
was some years. But he came back from prison to get tried.
Yes.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, what a sick fuck.
Yeah, he, not my favorite person. Now, my most memorable courtroom moment,
Yeah.
well, there's a lot of them, but this one stands out.
Okay.
I was trying a guy, and in the middle of his attorney was giving his closing argument, and he threw himself out of his chair, the defendant did, onto the floor of the courtroom, and on his stomach, and starts banging his fists and kicking his feet like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum, you know, and screaming, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. I was like, you must not really appreciate your attorney's closing argument if you do that. But anyway, they had to haul him out.
Oh, it wasn't done yet.
No, it was in the middle of his attorney giving his closing argument. I'd give him mine. The defense
Wait
attorney-
till they say you did it. Then, then.
So he does this. They had to take the jury out. The judge was pissed off. And so they found him guilty, and we go back for sentencing, and the judge was kind of one of these lean toward the lenient side. And so I gave my recommendation. He more than doubled what I asked for this guy's prison sentence. But just because I think he was so mad at the guy.
Oh, yeah, he's like, you?
Throwing himself on the floor.
Just made a mockery
And
of this courtroom.
you hardly ever get the judge more than doubles.
Yes. You're saying that their attorney says one number, you say a little higher. He says no.
Well, I asked for 35.
He's like,
he
no.
got 75.
Shit. He's going to do that 35. Yeah, man. Is there any more day-for-day good time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's still a thing.
Yeah, almost all of them are day-for-day good time.
Did that go away for a while? I thought everything was 85%.
No, there's only certain of your high, like aggravated discharge of a firearm.
Oh, certain cases.
Certain cases are 85%.
Okay.
And first-degree murder and terrorism are 100%. And that's been since 1997, I think.
Terrorism, huh?
Yeah, I never tried terrorism. The other case I always wanted to try from the time I was young, which is still on the books, and I never got to, was dueling. It's still a crime in the state of Illinois.
Like duel?
I never got to do that.
Yeah. There's been some dueling.
Yeah, there has.
I'm sure.
I probably could have somehow.
Yeah, you could have
twisted
finagled it.
one of
Like,
those.
well, how many steps did you take? And you? You both took 10. You guys were definitely dueling. Yeah. That's funny. So what is your view on the correctional rehabilitation? I mean, do you think that people that I'm sure you have probably seen people that went to literal prison, came back, came to see you again, went back to prison, and obviously some people are just going to not do right, and it's just what it is. But do you think that our prison system needs work?
I do. I've always thought that. And again, I don't know how you do it. I don't have the answer. But
It's not like there's a state that's doing it right.
I don't think so. No, not that I know of.
No.
But there's got to be something out there. Of course, the drug problem, people that have drug problems
Yeah.
that don't get addressed in prison, they're almost doomed to repeat.
For sure. Yeah.
But you can't get them to do it if they don't want to do it.
Right.
They go through treatment. But I don't know. There should be something more. And there's been a lot of programs. I know, back around 2011, there was, I think they called it a Summit of Hope. But I got involved with it because I thought it was a good idea to give services to people coming out in the community.
To help them get on their feet.
Help them get on their feet.
Yeah.
And I think we have to do that with people.
Yeah.
But again, you're talking about money. You got to have people to do it. And they offered a lot of, it was basically, here's what's available to you.
But you have to.
Because there are things out there, but it's tough. People come out, they have no place to live.
Yeah.
Or, they have a place for a little while. But it's, I don't know the answer to it.
Right, yeah. They don't give you a damn house or a car when you get home from the military, so they shouldn't.
That's a good point.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's kind of part of the deal, I think. But yeah, what do you do to shift the mind? It seems like the kids that are doing crazy, taking lives, as the age of that has gone down even, where it's like, man, prison, death, nothing scares some people. I feel like that's new. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just tough. It's.
But you're right. You do see younger and younger people getting involved in it.
And it's whatever. Like, man, what? I'll tell you what it is. Exactly what it is. It's a parenting problem.
That's got a lot to do
And
with it.
how many parents doesn't mean shit. I know a lot of women that dad the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know a lot of women who, hey, it is what it is. You can't. What are you gonna? What? Are you gonna be a piece of shit because someone treated you bad and you left them, and now everything is no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think environment's a big thing. I had the opportunity to meet guys from bigger areas who had never left a 5-mile area in their whole life. You know what I mean? Because that's whether they were, whatever organization they were in, didn't really let them go outside anywhere, and they didn't have money to go vacation. So it was like, wow, you live in Chicago and you have never seen Chicago. That's crazy.
Wow.
But, you know, it seems like the homeless and poverty, it keeps going up because we keep providing stuff for people who don't do anything too, man.
There's a
It's
lot
that
to be
fine
said for that
line,
as well.
man.
There
where
is.
you got a minimum wage job and 2 kids, you're going to make more money not working. And that's crazy.
Well,
I mean, I don't want to pay more for minimum wage.
Well,
either.
and I knew somebody that worked with kids, and they're talking about how high school kids had it all figured out, how they could get by with not having a job with what was made available to them. And it's like, you're 17 and that's how you're thinking. They don't want to get a job.
No.
And it's like, that's scary.
You don't teach kids how to go fill out job applications and create a resume, or you might tell them they should go to Richland, but you don't show them how to do anything because you assume they might know how to do it at home. I think that's it. The whole education system has been handcuffed to where, we're not teaching them the right things. We're teaching them how to take advantage of programs. It's like we should be teaching them how to not have to be in that situation at all.
I think, when I was in high school, I don't even remember what the class, but we touched on a few things like how loans work.
Sure.
But they ought to be teaching kids, and even when I was a kid, investing and how and how important to work for a pension or a 401k.
Or teach that $50 a paycheck, and it could add up to $10,000 a year or whatever.
But they didn't do it when I was a kid, and they ought to be doing it. Should have been doing it then. They ought to be doing it now.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I think that's it, and you saw it at law school, and I think everywhere, unless you're a surgeon, I think you see it in every profession, is you can go to school and get the education for whatever you're going to do. No school gives you the know-how.
Mm-mm. Oh, no.
Here, you wanted to do this, you earned it, go do it. Yep. It's like, oh, shit.
Yep. I mean, when I got out of law school, I had no idea.
Right.
And it's like, now is when the learning begins.
Yeah. No kidding. I got the education, now I got to learn.
Yeah, they make you take all these classes that
they just want to make sure you know how to learn.
Yeah. But law school was incredibly boring, I thought. And then you got to jump through that hoop of taking this stupid 2-day bar exam.
Was that the hardest test in the world?
For me, it was, yeah. I mean, the most studying went into it.
Okay. You're lucky you said that, Fallon, or I was going to. If you'd have been like, that thing was a breeze.
No, it was not pleasant. Not pleasant at all.
I can't imagine. But again,
I'll tell you a funny story about it.
Let's say you wore a diaper too.
No. That, I have never heard of that. Okay, back then, we didn't have computers, of course. So some people would bring in electric typewriters. They bring in.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. I wrote mine by hand.
Yeah.
And I had gone home one weekend to play with my slow-pitch softball team. And between games, we got to one guy's house, and we're having a few beers. And one of my buddies is a carpenter, or was at that time. And he said, hey, put your hand out there on the table, and I'll hit between your fingers with a hammer. And I knew he was good with a hammer, but it's like, I never expected it. And he slammed that thing down on my
first shot.
finger, first shot. I jumped up and was jumping around and hollering and well, of course, my finger swells up.
Oh, and you had to write.
I had to write, and this was like 2 weeks before the exam. And I got this finger that hurts like hell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's nothing
I
that
was
hurts.
drilling
Heart
holes.
beating. Yeah.
I drilled holes in it to get the
Fingernail
blood
cut.
out.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering we're still friends. but
That's
we
funny,
are.
though. Yeah, you're like, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, you won't forget that test.
No.
That's funny. Yeah. So, will you stick around when the kids get grown? Are you like Decatur's home forever? Or are you like, no, I'm getting these kids up and then I'm going to go explore
well,
life?
I got one boy in Champaign. My daughter was in Evanston. She used to live in California, so I was glad to have her back.
Is your boy in Champaign at school?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if
works
he
over there.
followed.
That's
Okay.
my oldest one.
Okay. Oh.
And then my daughter's in Evanston. I've told my 19-year-old, you can stay here as long as you want. You know, I enjoy having him there. Save some money up.
Damn right.
And, he's got a good job. And he's saving money. But I was like, I don't care if you stay here until you're 30 and have enough money in the bank to buy a house outright.
Take
you
advantage,
can stay here.
dude.
And, I cook for him.
Yeah.
He cleans his area of the house and all that. And I enjoy it. My other son, he wants to go to college. He hadn't decided my youngest, hadn't decided what he wants to do or where he wants to go. But my kids are here.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm probably not going to move away.
That's actually probably kind of cool to have the boys, at home and just,
yeah,
that's cool.
But, we...
Are you married now?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
But I always thought I'd live in some place really scenic, the mountains, and I can still go visit them.
Yeah.
And like I said, the boys, my two youngest and I, my daughter once, usually go out to Wyoming on vacation every year. We didn't go this year, but and we used to go to Florida.
Yeah.
But we've gone so many years with no vacations at all. Now I'm trying to make it up to them, but.
So do they get it? Do they? And either one of them want to follow your career path at all, or was it like?
No. My youngest, at one point, he was toying with the idea of going to law school. I wasn't going to talk him out of it, but I don't want my kids to be lawyers. I think they can be happier doing something else.
Okay.
I don't know.
Why? Oh, because you're like, that just consumes you, right? I mean,
it can. I mean, depending on what kind of job you've got, how much you want to get out of it. You can breeze through it if you don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. The law, I don't know. It changes constantly,
right?
And so you're constantly updating. And I think you could find something else where you could be a lot less stressed.
Yeah.
And, running a private law practice can be extremely, if you're in private practice, that can be a real headache too.
Oh, I could imagine.
I mean, you got to have money coming in the door.
I was going to say that you have to act, you don't have to go find clients. They come to you.
Exactly. And, I always knew I was going to have a paycheck as long as I kept my job.
Anytime you wanted to leave and go be private, you could have?
Could have, yep.
So did you know you wanted to be a prosecutor from day one, or you were just like, no, I just want to be an attorney, and this is where I'm going to start?
I thought you go to school, be an attorney, you make all kinds of money.
Yeah.
And I got out.
Get a house in Miami and one in California.
And some guys do.
Yeah.
But they're pretty few and far between.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the husband and wife are on the Diddy Kate. No.
But, I got out. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I took that job, to get some experience, to get some courtroom experience, and realized I was okay at it.
So when you sat down, when you considered going and taking a public defender's job, at that point, if you would have got let go, you would have kind of had your feelers out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I had a spot to go.
Okay.
But like I said, I decided it was kind of the unknown.
Right.
And at least I had something solid doing what I was doing. And again, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being a prosecutor. I enjoyed there was never a day I didn't want to go to work.
Okay.
Ever, until right at the end. And then it's like, okay.
Well, just because you knew you were done?
Yeah. I mean, I never thought I'd be retired, but they always say, you talk to people, and I thought I was too young to retire, but you hear people say, you'll know when it's time. I knew when it was time. Yeah. I was done.
So is there any part of you that wants to do something else?
If it's not related to the law, I would.
Oh, not stay away from that, huh?
Yeah. I don't want the stress of it. I mean, the practice of law can be very stressful. In fact, I took a training the other day online And I forget how, I mean, the suicide rate amongst lawyers is like really high compared to other professions, a lot of other professions. I mean, it's like in the top 5 or something.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to do something, it's going to be something like driving a car or
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, I get it. Deliver some stuff, or what do you need me to do? Yeah. No, I can appreciate that. Well, yeah, and you did it till it was done. Yeah. So how old are you?
63.
Damn, you are young. Then, well, that's good. You don't got to do nothing you don't want to do. So.
Well, and I'm still young enough I can do things.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in good enough physical shape that I
Yeah.
can go hiking.
Yeah, I was going to say, you do like a lot of people work till you're 75, then you go.
You got nothing left.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit.
I've been very blessed, and I'm very grateful.
Yeah, that's cool. But it's also, that's what happens when you don't dick off your 20s and you go straight to work. You go to school and go to work is you get to be 60 with the option of retiring.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I even got a couple friends of mine that are talking about, 8 years I'm retiring. And I'm like, retire? And you're going to be like 55. The guy worked here for 32 years. I'm like, oh, shit.
Well, I felt kind of bad about retiring at the age that I did, but I had my 45th high school reunion this last August. And I go, and, you know, I haven't kept track with all. I came from a very small class. There were like 36 of us, and I think, I don't know, maybe about 20 came. And everybody says, well, I retired 8 years ago. And I'm like, wow, hell, I should have.
Oh, man, you felt like you're not, you were like, I was going to act like I worked still and not be a dickhead right now. But wait, we're all retired?
And all these guys.
Yeah,
they're all
everyone figured it
last
out.
Year.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, that's cool, though. I mean, done enough to enjoy a little bit of life. It's all unpredictable, so it's good to do it. That's why it's, well, especially your boys at the age and your kids, no matter what. This is, I'm sure, even the quality of time you spend with them without having shit in the back of your brain at all times that you can't turn off.
No.
I mean, if you can, then that's awesome.
And I know one time my 2 oldest were little, and we took a trip, and I had this huge trial coming up. And, of course, this was before we had cell phones. And so I'd have to stop at a gas station
You
and
were
call
pumping
the office,
quarters in.
or when we get to a motel room at night. And I know it affected me, and it had to have affected my kids.
Oh, yeah.
As
You
far
were
as, because I was probably not my
detached
normal
like
dad
crazy.
self.
Yeah. So, do you remember me? Have you sat down or talked to anybody like that was in a situation like you and I were in? Or do you run across any?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, the reaction from my family whenever I was like, guess who's coming in? It was like, oh, why would you do that? And I'm like, you don't think that I think he did anything to me, do you? You know what I mean? Because I don't. I mean, then I did because you were the only one who could save me.
I'm sure.
You know?
Well, and I do. I mean, when you are a prosecutor, you make a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
And you make a lot of friends.
Sure.
I can tell you this, that I always felt like everybody, no matter what, every defendant, no matter what position they were in, was entitled to a certain level of respect.
Yeah.
Everybody is. So I never made anything personal. And it never was anything personal. I
Right.
knew guys that prosecutors that made it kind of a personal thing.
Right.
I had a guy that I prosecuted on my campaign committee.
Yeah.
I've had guys that help me with my campaigns, and tremendously. The guys that I prosecuted and sent to prison. Like I say, there are guys out there can't stand me.
Sure.
But I can also tell you that back then, I was limited by my boss what I could do.
Sure.
And I changed that when I became first assistant and then was elected, that young guys and girls make stupid decisions.
Right.
And you can't just say, okay, on this crime, we're never going to reduce it. And I don't think that was right.
Right.
I didn't think it was right then. It bothered me then. So when I had the ability, I changed that.
It's because it kind of puts everyone under the
can't
same
do that.
blanket.
And you can't do
Yeah,
that.
people are different.
Right. And
cases are different.
I always made it a rule when I was first assistant and state's attorney that if somebody wanted to come talk to me about a defendant, I'd let them have that opportunity.
Right.
Whether it's mom, grandma,
Yeah.
pastor, friend, coworker, whatever. I'd give them the time to come in and talk to me.
Right.
It didn't always work
Right.
as far as getting my position changed, but sometimes it did.
Right.
And you can't just say, everybody that commits this crime is going to get this.
Yeah.
I disagree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, it's tough.
So, but, you know, you do what your boss tells you to do.
Oh, no, understood. That's kind of what my take always was kind of, I mean, accountability. You know what I mean? No one, again, if I didn't stand with you then I don't know if I'd be sitting with you now because I wouldn't have had a reason to be in there. Then I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? There's no part of me that I couldn't have said it better than you just did, where it was like, man, that mandatory minimum thing is what made my life, you know, go where it did. But
well, I can tell you that was a case
that was tough, man.
that was difficult for me, and I can tell you I had a shed back then, and I would go out at night, and it bothered me thinking about it, because my oldest was 3 at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought, how am I going to feel if that's my son 15, 16 years from now? And so it was very difficult.
Yeah.
But like, and I went and talked to my boss about it.
Right.
And here's what you do.
Yeah.
And, you know, what ended up, it gave me a lot of trials.
Right.
Because nobody wanted that.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted that mandatory minimum.
Yeah.
But I did it differently. If they were a career criminal, hell yeah.
And I get it. Yeah.
But if they're a young kid,
well,
first-time offender, I did
think
disagree with it.
that's where my perspective came from, is when I went in there, and it's like, oh, I can see around me exactly why laws are how they are, and why. I mean, you change a policy for the good apples when they're mostly bad. You know what I mean? So I kind of got it. You know what I mean? It did. It just registered. It was like, okay, this is not me, no matter how long. This isn't, you know what I mean? That was just it. That was kind of just it. So, yeah, I never had that chip. I made bad moves, man, as a kid.
You know, everybody does.
Hey, sometimes the consequence, pay attention, you know what I mean?
Well, and, you know, like you mentioned earlier, people think, oh, prosecutor, they're just somebody who wants to be a jerk and be mean to people.
I honestly didn't know if you would even remember. I didn't know if you'd be like, no, do I know you from somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't
well,
know
if you recall, years ago, you sent me a LinkedIn
I did.
request.
Yeah.
I accepted it.
Yeah.
And so I've been following what you've been doing.
Yeah. Okay. But I just didn't know if it was so, you know,
no,
this is 96 CF 1386, and that
that's
goes
why
away when that
I'm
goes away.
telling you it bothered me, because there are very few I remember
Right.
from that part of my career.
Yeah.
You know, I remember a few of them.
Sure.
But their name, no.
Right.
Or they might say, oh, yeah. But, you know, when there was.
Well, no, I appreciate that, and I do like to just kind of look at everyone as, you know, we're all just in the same. We could all sit and have a beer, and everybody can be cool with everybody if everybody would.
That's the way I'd like it to be.
You know, I mean, not that everybody needs a beer, but I didn't think I expect you to come in here like, you know, shitty or anything. But I'm impressed.
I'll sit down and talk to anybody.
Yeah. Well, that made it feel less important, man.
No, I didn't mean it that way.
Next, no. But yeah, well, I appreciate you coming in and just talking a little bit about your career, and it was a live one for sure. But I think the best is yet to come, my man. Now you get to kids and then grandkids and then wherever they want to take you to.
Let's hope the golden years are truly golden. You know,
that's it for sure, man. Well, no, and when it's all said and done, no matter who was in your shoes, the same was going to happen to me. I think that's what. So it's not I think more than anything, it's awesome that we're sitting down talking now.
Well, like I said, I'll tell you another funny one. A guy I sent away for an extended period of time. When I ran for state's attorney in 2012, the first time, you know, people were writing letters to the editor. So, and I still took the paper back then. And so I'd open it up to see if
They
somebody
posted a letter to the editor?
a guy, he was actually in prison. And I saw my name in the head, the little headline I got above it, and then I saw his name, like, oh my goodness. Well, he was endorsing me for state's attorney while he's in prison.
Okay. You're like,
And so
all
then
right.
I got elected, and the next year I get a letter from him at Christmas. I open it up, and it was a hand-drawn Christmas card.
Yep.
And he's talking, and he said he didn't hold anything against me and knew I was just doing my job. And he apologized to me because he had pulled a couple of stunts right before the trial.
Right.
And accused me of doing things, so he apologized to me. Yeah. So I wrote him back. And so then we kind of became pen pals.
Okay, well, that's cool.
But then he served his time.
Yeah.
And he got out, called me on the phone. We had a nice conversation. He got accepted to a prestigious college in engineering.
Really?
And I'm like, and I told him when I wrote him back first time, I hope you all, wish you all the best and everything, because I do. I mean,
Yeah.
we prosecutors aren't trying to run
Create criminals.
No, we're trying to. We like to see the success stories.
Right.
And so he owed a whole bunch of money,
Mm-hmm.
and so I told one of the assistants, "Hey, work with this guy, so he doesn't have to pay everything he makes
Yeah. Let
for
him
the
pay
rest of his life.
Yeah,
Knock it down. And
do something.
so, but I think if you always wish when you're a prosecutor, more people would see that as your role. It's just trying to do something good. You want people to succeed. Now, if you get some horrible rapist, axe murderer, you want to put them away for the rest of their life.
Yeah. Well, you kicked ass. You ended your career being on top. That means you did your job when you were working your way up damn good.
I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of like Rocky Marciano.
That's it. Right? Well, hey, I appreciate you coming in and sitting down with me. It was unexpected. I didn't really know exactly how it'd go, but I thought it went great, and I love chatting with you, man.
Same here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody. Well, we'll catch you on the next one. This has been Jay Scott, man, and I'm Nick, and we'll see you soon.
Gold, so kick back, relax, let's have some fun with laughs and insights. We're just getting begun. Beyond business, where the stories flow. Life's a crazy ride, come on, let's go. From the ups and the downs, we'll laugh and we'll learn. With host Nick Freno, it's your turn to discern. Beyond business, take a seat, take a chance. Let's explore the past, come join the dance. Beyond business, where the stories flow. Life's a crazy ride, come on, let's go. From the ups and the downs, we'll laugh and we'll learn. With host Nick Freno, it's your turn to discern. Beyond business, take a seat, take a chance. Let's explore the past, come join the dance. Hey.